everyone. Welcome to a new episode of One Vision, the Fintech Fuse. This is Theo, your host for this episode. Joining us today are Thomas Mehlkopf, GM and Head of Working Capital Management Team at SAP, and Rene Ho, CFO at Taulia. Welcome to the show, gents.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I love that we have three of us converging from different time zones and talking about something that is passionate for all three of us. So let's kick off the conversation with you first, Rene. Let's think about the state of global economy, which is something top of mind for many people, including organizations, but especially for the CFOs. Can you share with us some of the headwind and opportunities that we might face this year?
Sure, thank you. It is certainly one that I spend a lot of time thinking about and talk to my fellow CFOs about. I would say that inflation and interest rates continue to be a concern, but I think it's a concern or something that's better understood now. People don't expect interest rates to go up like they did 12 months ago, as well as interest rates. I think it's more under control, but the issue's not gone away. I'd say that the wild card that people are really concerned about is China. All economies in some way are connected to China, whether it be closely or somewhat remotely. China is currently facing multiple issues. I think their COVID response has delayed some of the economic growth. They have a housing crisis. Companies are diversifying their supply chains away from China, and they have an aging population. I think each one of these factors alone may not be a big deal, but since they're all hitting at the same time, there is a lot of concern over the Chinese economy and when does that impact the rest of the world. That's certainly one that's top of mind for CFOs. Election uncertainty, it's a huge election year across many different countries, and what's going to come of that is it's just something we have to go through in countries every 4 years here in the United States and a different interval in other countries. But it happens that in this year, many countries are going through an election. In terms of tailwinds, as I said, CFOs are still concerned about inflation and interest rates, but I think people think it's past its worst. So at least in the US, people expect interest rates to go down as the next move, not up. And the only question is when. And when that happens, I think when there's greater clarity on when that would happen, is I think when the tailwind will start to get more strength. And also consumer demand continues to be strong. Unemployment continues to be low. It's a strange job market. I think even though unemployment is low, it seems to me that the time to fill a job is getting longer. So there's some signs of tailwinds, but not strong signs. That's what I would say.
I can certainly relate to the consumer sentiment, especially looking at where we have been from an economy perspective and how consumers are behaving and how that impacts everything. And I love your point about how interconnected all the economies are. We tend to forget that. I think we are a little bit more dependent on each other than we would like to think we are. So let's switch to you, Thomas. Just about 2 years ago, in 2022, in fact, SAP completed the acquisition of Taulia. Can you share with us the rationale behind the acquisition and how does that help companies gain financial flexibility and stability, which are some of the biggest concerns for the CFOs, especially now?
Yeah, Theo, thanks for asking. And by the way, we just celebrated our 2 years anniversary being together. And I think, honestly, the rationale we had is still the same. So it still resonates very well with me. So our rationale when we decided to acquire Taulia was to help really our customers, companies to gain financial flexibility and stability, as you said, and contribute to making supply chains more resilient. For us at SAP, of course, we want to support our customers and key buying center, which is for sure the CFO, but also the Chief Procurement Officer. to really help them in this remit and expand basically our SAP Business Network, but also strengthen our solution that we have for the Office of the CFO. And when you think about it, and also what Rene just said, what I hear and what we, by the way, also have surveyed on, and this is part of our ebook that we are launching on CFO Perspectives. We have done a supplier survey, and what's still top of mind is, of course, inflation, but also growth and supply chain disruptions for suppliers. And when you then think about large entities, they have still cost optimization and cash flow performance as one of their key priorities. And that's where we exactly help with Taulia by providing really liquidity when companies need it and create more resilient supply chains. And that is true for the large buyers, but also the small suppliers, so they can all invest their liquidity into their growth. And that in a way that we are very flexible on how to do it. So as we cover working capital really holistically with Taulia, but also other solutions, and I can speak about this later on, for payables, receivables, but also inventory. So really everything that makes up your working capital, we provide optionality to CFOs, treasurers, CPOs, and adjust their actions and measures they can take based on the economic environment. And clearly we do live in a VUCA world, so we believe this kind of flexibility and not just having one instrument on how you manage your working capital is really, really important and unmatched in the market.
I can see how it is very, very crucial, especially now. Rene, how would you define working capital management to what Thomas was just saying? And why is that important for a financial health of a company?
Sure, thank you. So all companies are financed by capital, could be debt capital or equity capital. Debt is expensive and equity is even more expensive. So the companies raise this capital to have cash to fund their operations, growth, investments, acquisitions, whatever it happens to be. When cash is tied up in the supply chain, whether that be receivables, payables, or inventory, it's not generating any return. So if we can convert the receivables to cash, convert the payables into proper payment terms to pay suppliers, not too soon and not too early, and perhaps free up some liquidity there. And same for inventory, that creates more cash where the working capital is managed to fund operations and generate return as opposed to sitting idle.
Not too soon and not too early. Just in time, perfect management. Now, 2 years have passed. Congrats. Thomas, can you walk us through what are some of the lessons learned and synergies that you've realized, and how do the solutions complement each other, for example?
I love that question, and I'm very passionate about it. Probably we could do an own podcast just on this topic, honestly. When I took over the role, I, of course, also thought a lot about, okay, how can we create the synergies? What should we do? I read my MBA scripts. I thought about M&A. And the reality is you can't underestimate, in my view, the cultural fit, the importance of the cultural fit and the joint purpose, which I fully believe we have here. It's an art and a science, in my view, to mix and match best of both worlds. We purposefully really decided to keep Taulia a separate legal entity, while it's, of course, still driving all the synergies on the go-to-market and product front, because we have a common goal to really improve working capital end to end. And Taulia has a great leadership and culture, and I'm honestly proud to be part of this, as we share very similar vision. Speaking about the vision and why I believe the joint purpose is important, when you look at SAP's vision, it's we bring out the best in every business, which fits very nicely with Taulia's vision of powering businesses to run better by building the future of finance together. So building the future of finance together to bring out the best in every business. Let's make this a little bit more concrete when we talk about synergies. Customers trust us as SAP and Taulia with their most important business processes. And of course, this touches working capital as well for multiple end-to-end business processes. And we, SAP, together with Taulia, has a unique position to really run this end-to-end. When we talk to CFOs or chief procurement officers, they could not care less about a specific product name, right? They have an objective and a problem that we need to solve. And that is, in our case, really free cash flow or cost optimization. And we can do this end-to-end, which is why product integration is really key. So we did not just join or welcome our Taulia colleagues, but we really worked on integrating the products where it makes a lot of sense. Take receivables, for example. When you think about optimizing receivables, it's about how fast can you get an automated can you get an invoice out? How effective is your collection strategy? How do you manage disputes in a very automated but fast way as well, because you want to collect the cash? How do you forecast collections from a liquidity planning perspective? And how do you use then also receivables financing to improve DSO? So I touched on various different topics. And the good thing is we can do this all together. So we have the solutions to really cover this end-to-end for the CFO to solve his or her problem. And of course, now also with the power of AI, where we invest a lot as well, as you can imagine. It's about solving a business problem and not positioning just one solution to our buying center. And that is honestly, when I talk to customer, what really resonates well. And I think we can be quite proud of how well we created synergies around product integration, but also selling this then to the customers as a end-to-end solution, so to say.
All right, so thank you so much, Thomas. I feel like what you just talked about, we can write the whole case study on it, or maybe we should actually, come to think of it. Can you guys share with us some examples of customers or the types of companies that are leading the charge towards resilient and sustainable supply chains, getting to ESG goals and more?
Absolutely. You're touching a topic that's very core to my heart, honestly, because I think there's a big opportunity to combine resiliency with sustainability goals. And we see customers, of course, they are very much focused on providing reporting for ESG, but there is the bigger opportunity to actually really lead the charge here and use the Taulia solution also to go with their suppliers the way to net zero. We just had a recent customer win in the oil and gas industry, and you will be surprised. Actually, that customer, it's a large customer. ESG was a huge thing for them, why they have chosen also Taulia. So to really incentivize their suppliers with favorable financing rates to go the way to net zero. And other customers that we have, for example, that I can share here also is Bridgestone, who is a customer who's using Taulia for sustainability purposes as well. And I would say working capital and ESG definitely can be a perfect match.
I feel like you just hit on all of the keywords that I love in the last few minutes. You talked about application of AI, you talked about ESG, sustainability, net zero, all of that. So closing thoughts, Rene. How do you expect the next 12 to 16 months play out? And what should CFOs be prepared for?
Yeah, my first answer would be AI, but that is another 3 hours.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, so I'll go to my, if it's okay, I'll go to my second answer. If you want to follow up on AI, happy to talk about that. My second answer is that CFOs should be prepared for surprises. I think interest rates right now are understood, inflation is understood. But the reality is, if you think about the last 4 or 5 years, and even before then, there's always been a surprise. We don't know what it is, but it's going to happen. COVID happened. We didn't plan for it. We had to be resilient and figure it out. Ukraine, the Middle East, all these shocks happen. We can't plan for them, but we need to be ready for the surprises. And I hope everything goes well in this election year, but maybe something may or may not, and we need to be ready for it. We actually have a customer that actually manages working capital very well, but is buying Taulia just in case there's a surprise. So in daily operations, they said to me they don't really need us, but they want to put us in place just in case it happens. So I would say it's the surprises, and they will happen. And more companies are putting in place measures to get ready for the surprises that they're not aware of.
Almost feels like we need a crystal ball, and you are going to be right there for them to manage the prices. And it's a great risk management strategy as well, if you ask me. So, well, thank you so much for your time, Rene and Thomas. Appreciate the insights. And Thomas, I do look forward to the use case and the business case. That would be a great MBA study for what you two are doing right now. So appreciate it. Thank you so much. And for the rest of our listeners, thank you for spending time with us. And we'll talk to you all next week for another episode of One Vision.
Thank you very much, Theo.
Thank you, Theo.
Thank you.